Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's session. This session is based around your week 4. I hope most of you have watched the lectures already. And today we'll be discussing few questions based around your distance calculation and clustering algorithms. So, let us get started. I hope my screen is visible. I would like you all to go to this menti.com website and enter this code. And please let me know in the chat when you've successfully joined this. Come on, everyone, be a little fast. Till now, I can see only 18 people. Okay, so I can see around 37 people. So maybe we can start. I want you all to go to this URL and there you'll be seeing all the questions that we are supposed to discuss today. I've also shared the link in the chat box. Okay. So this is your question number 1. It says that you have to find the distance between the 2 points. So you can see 2 points on your screen and you just have to employ your Euclidean distance calculation and give me the distance between these 2 points. So if you've noted the question, which is also available on the link, please click on the correct answer here. Okay, so 23 people say that the answer should be 5. So let us see what the correct answer is. Right, so 5 is the correct answer here. Would anyone like to explain how? This was the question. You can unmute yourself and let me know. Go ahead.
There are 2 points, so 5 comma 0 and 1 comma 3. We can use the Pythagoras theorem, that is, we can do it like 1 minus 5 the whole square plus 0 minus 3 the whole square, the whole root. If we calculate it, we get 16 plus 9, which is 25. So root 25 is 5.
Correct. So you're just basically employing the Euclidean distance formula and you're getting the answer. Okay, I hope everyone gets that. If that is fine, we can move on to the next question. So this is your question number 2. Here again, you will have to find the distance between the 2 points and you can use the very same formula which Yuvanesh just told. Okay, please fill in your answers here. Okay, 90% people say it's 13. Let's see. Right, so 13 here is the correct answer. And again, you just have to employ the simple Euclidean formula and you will get your answer. So moving on to question number 3 now. You will be able to get the exact question in the link that I've shared. Please open that link and there you will get the question as in what you have to do here. So let me just show you question number 3. So this is a question number 3 and you have these 2 points on your screen. So you basically have to find the mean of this cluster. So this is one cluster with 2 points and you need to give me the mean or the center of this cluster. And then I'll be showing you the Menti screen or the original slides and then you just have to mark the correct point on the graph itself. So I hope the question is clear. Yeah, please mark the point here on the graph. Okay, 24 people say that the mean of this cluster is 2, comma 2. Would anyone like to explain how and as in what formula you used? What were the 2 points and then how you calculated the mean? Anyone would like to unmute and explain?
The mean center would be the midpoint between
Mm-hmm.
the 2 points. So that is 5 plus minus 1 by 2, that is 2. Then y1 plus y2 by 2, that is 3 plus 1 by 2, 2. So the mean center is 2, comma 2.
Correct.
The midpoint formula.
Correct. I hope everyone is able to see that. So we had 2 points, 5, comma 3 and minus 1, comma 1. And you just had to employ the midpoint formula to get your answer, which is 2, comma 2 in this case. Okay, let's go ahead. Now this is your question 4. I guess here again, you'd have to find the mean of the cluster. And just mark the point on the graph. So this is your question 4. A cluster has 3 points, and you again have to go ahead and find the mean of this cluster. So I can see a big blob around 3, comma 2. Let's see if that's the correct answer. So 3, comma 2 is indeed the correct answer. And here you just had 3 points, 0, comma 1, 3, comma 3, and 6, comma 2. And you basically just had to employ a simple midpoint formula here now with 3 points. So I guess it's easy to see now. If there's any doubt, you may let me know, else we'll move on. Now this is your question 5. The question is given on the link which I've shared. I'll also show it to you here. So you have 2 data points, okay, and these are in the R4 space, which is to say that these are 4-dimensional points, P and Q. P is given by 1, 2, 3, 0, and Q is given by minus 1, 0, 1, minus 2. Your job is to find the distance between these 2 points. I hope everyone has noted the question down. I'm now showing you the Menti screen. Please mark the correct answer here. It's the same thing as what you did in question 2 and 3. It's like, I've just increased the number of dimensions corresponding to a point. Okay, this is easy to see. It's 4. Okay, fine. Next, we go on to question number 6. So let me show you question number 6. Now you have these 4 points belonging to one cluster, and your job is to find the mean of this cluster. So again, a similar question as to what we did before.
And we are not able to submit the answer.
Okay, let me just see. Yeah, try now. Okay, 84% people say that it's 0.75, 0.5, and 1. So yeah, this is the correct answer. Okay, moving on. Now we have question number 7. So question number 7 says that you have the means of 2 clusters given below. One mean is the green point and the other is the red point. To which cluster does the black point belong? And then you just have to put in your answer to the Menti. So before I show you the screen again, could anyone comment here how you will find the right answer?
Ma'am, we'll calculate the Euclidean distance and the less Euclidean distance from the point. Like, for example, it is more from green and less from red, then we have to calculate that thing.
Okay. And what does this green and red represent?
And they are the data points, clusters, cluster center of maybe.
Correct, correct. Okay, so the majority says the answer should be red. Let's see. Okay, so red is the correct answer here because if you look at the graph, you'll find that the point, the black point, is closer to the red data point than the green one. So moving on to question number 8. Let me show you the question. Right. So the means of two clusters are given below again. So one is your green point and one is the red point, which are the cluster means. And now you have two black points, okay, on the graph. Now you have to mark the point on the Menti, which is gonna belong to the green cluster. So what do you think, which point should belong to the green cluster from here? The 2 points are 1, comma -1 and -2, comma 0. Oh, sorry, 0, comma -2.
Ma'am, we are unable to answer.
We can't able to submit the answer.
Okay, try it now. Okay, let's see the
So,
correct answer here. Yeah. Anyone wishes to say anything? Right. So the point here given by 0, comma -2 is closer to the green point, and hence it's gonna belong to the green cluster. Okay. Now back to question number 9. You have two cluster means as given below. So again, we have 4-dimensional points here. And now you have to check where does a new point, which is given by 0 to 1, 1, is gonna belong. So again, some Euclidean calculation and then assigning the point back to a reasonable cluster. I hope you've noted down the question.
Ma'am, we are not able to give answers.
Yeah, so when only when I share my screen is when you're able to enter the answer. Okay, let's see the correct answer. And the correct answer is cluster 1. And the explanation is simple. You just have to find the Euclidean distance, and whichever distance between the 2 points, namely the green and the red one, is lesser, that's gonna be your answer. Okay, moving on. Let me show you the question 10. The question 10 says that you have two clusters, namely this green one and the red one here. Your job is to find the mean of the green cluster. So there are around 4 points in this green cluster. You just find the coordinates of these points and then report the mean. And on similar lines, we have question number 11, which says that you need to find the mean of the red cluster. So there are 5 points. Find the coordinates of these points and then report the mean of the red cluster. So these are your question 10 and question 11. Okay, let's see the correct answer here. Okay. I hope everyone agrees with the answer. Now, can you let me know the mean of the red cluster here? Okay, let's see the correct answer. Fine. So 3 comma minus 2, I think somewhere around that is your correct answer. Now a random question to everyone. Right. So a random question to everyone. Suppose my test point is 5 comma 5. Can you tell me which cluster will this point belong to? 5 comma 5.
Red color.
The red cluster maybe.
Okay. Everyone agrees with red cluster?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Yeah, that is right. Now let me show you the question number 12. So it's based along similar lines as to what I just asked you. So here they have introduced this new black point given by 0 comma minus 3, and they're asking you which cluster
Does it
it's gonna belong to, the green one or the red one. The idea is that you just have to find the distance between that particular point and the means of the two clusters, which you calculated in question 10 and question 11.
Uh,
Yes, Arohi. Okay, so around 90% people say it's red, which is in fact the correct answer here. Now let's move on to question number 13. This might be a bit tricky, so I'd like you all to attempt this carefully. So we have a point P. This is a generic definition. It says that a point P is equidistant from two points, P1 and P2, if P1 is equal to PP2. So these are the lengths of the line segments basically. Now your job is to find out that how many black points here in this figure are equidistant from the green and the red points. So you have a green point and a red point, and then you have some black points here, namely 7. You have to tell me that out of these 7 black points, how many points are equidistant from green and red, as in they are at an equal distance from both the green point and the red point. I hope everyone understands the question.
Ma'am, I have a doubt. What does the cluster boundary mean?
In this very question, wait, let me just show you the question again. Okay. So you're asking about the cluster boundary in this question or the next one?
Ma'am, the next one.
Okay, that we're gonna discuss in some time. But what I want you to do now here is, so let me first show you the correct answer. So 36 people selected 3, which indeed is the correct answer. Now my question to the 36 people is, which points exactly from the graph are equidistant? So you basically have to give me the coordinates of those points.
The coordinates are 0, 0, 0, -2, and 0, -3.
Okay, so basically all the points which lie along the y-axis are equidistant from both the green and the red points. I hope everyone is able to see that. Can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
also can you also tell me why this is happening, that all the points lying along the y-axis are equidistant and no other point, like we have 1, 1, and points like that, those are not equidistant.
Because the entire y-axis is equidistant from those 2 points.
And what is the term for that, which I guess one of your peers just used?
Midpoint.
Not the midpoint, but yeah, something
Ma'am,
in context of clustering theory.
ma'am, is it cluster bound?
Yeah, correct. So what is happening is you have this cluster here, the green one, and here you have the red cluster. When you are actually calculating the cluster boundary, what you do is you take the midpoint of the two and you just draw the boundary on the basis of that. So here, since the y-axis lies perfectly at the midpoint of these two clusters, and that is why it becomes a cluster boundary. And that is why any point which lies on the cluster boundary is equidistant from both the clusters under consideration. So I hope everyone is able to understand why only the points lying along the y-axis are equidistant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so moving on to question number 14. Now here it says, what is the equation of the cluster boundary for this problem? So you see two clusters here. Okay, there's a green cluster and there's a red cluster. Your job is to find the equation of the cluster boundary. If you've noted the question, I'll show you the Menti screen now. So you have here 6 options and you need to tell me which out of these 6 are your cluster boundaries. Okay, so the majority says x equal to 1, which is indeed the correct answer. So would anyone like to tell me how you calculated the same?
Ma'am, we took the midpoints of the two clusters and then found out the value of x that was exactly in between them.
Yeah, just a small correction. You don't take the midpoint, you take the center or the mean. Okay. And once you calculated the mean of the two clusters, you basically took the midpoint of the mean centers and then you landed up with x equal to 1. I was also expecting people to mark x equal to 2 here, but I hope everyone got the intuition because it has to be the midpoint which forms the boundary. So x equal to 2 here will not be, will not suffice that requirement and hence that is why it's not the correct boundary. Okay. Now this is the last question for the day. Now here I have introduced one more cluster given by the blue one and you have a black point on screen. So you basically have to tell me to which of these 3 clusters will this point belong. If you've noted the question, let me go back to Menti. Okay, 77% people say blue. Okay, so this is correct. So good job, everyone. And I hope you all must have gotten the intuition behind solving this question. Okay. So that's the end of questions on Menti, but I have few more questions to ask. Please share the answers in the chat box, and one of you can also unmute and let me know. So you can see three clusters here: blue, red, and green. Suppose I don't want three clusters and I only want to cluster all the points using two clusters. Okay, so there are how many? There are around 8 points which are colored, and then there's a black point. So there are there are 12 points which are colored, and then there's a black point. So total 13 points I have on screen. Now I want two clusters. Okay, I want to make two clusters out of these 13 points. So how do you think I can make these clusters? That's question one. And what will be the final points in both of these clusters? You may take some time to think and then let me know. I hope the question is clear. I want to cluster the 13 points on screen into two big clusters. How are you gonna do that? And what will you end up, as the final clusters ultimately? Any comments, anything?
Chat is disabled.
Okay, I'm not
Ma'am,
sure
chat.
about it. So maybe you can just tell
Chat
me
is
verbally.
disabled.
Can we please open the chat for all studio? If the NPTEL team is here. Anyways, you can just tell me verbally whatever your thoughts are.
Ma'am, do we do this like we calculate the new mean for the blue cluster and then we compare the distances between the means of the three clusters, and whichever distance is the least, we group those two clusters together?
Mm, okay, that might work, but that's not the correct approach here, honestly. Okay, just to give you all a hint, I'll start with some random initial means, okay? So let me give you just a minute, Yogesh. Let me give you the two random means as
Ma'am, I am having an approach that is that we are going to separate it by the y and x axis. Like the green dots will be an another cluster, and the remaining will be the another cluster, because these lie on the negative side, these lie on the positive side of the x axis.
okay, okay.
We
See,
can
you
give
all are
some
not wrong.
random points and then we can take some random points. We can all, or we can take the cluster mean of the cluster as a random point and then we can calculate the distances.
Yeah, correct. That is what I was looking for. So you all are not wrong in your approaches, but there has to be some systematic way of doing this, okay? So what we do is we first select two random points, okay? And two random points as in two random initial means. So please see your chat. I've given you two random means to start with. One is 0, comma 0 and another one is 5, comma minus 3. So these are your initial means. Now what you will do is you will take each point which is there on the graph and you will calculate the distance of, of the point on the graph from these two initial means. Okay. And then you're gonna form two clusters this way. I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to say.
Ma'am, so we're basically
Yes, ma'am.
using the K clustering method, right?
Yeah, correct. And then what is gonna happen is once you find the distance from these 2 points and assign the points to the clusters, so that will be your first iteration, right? Then you will recalculate the means of the clusters that you have formed, and then you will repeat this exercise again. And then you keep repeating this exercise until and unless whatever points you have in one cluster are, they are satisfied by being into that cluster itself and they do not want to go to any other cluster because the distances, the least distance they have is with their own cluster's mean. So what I'm saying is that you basically have to employ the k-means clustering algorithm, which we also call as the Loy's algorithm, where you start out with two random initial means. You calculate the distances and make your clusters. That's iteration 1. Then you again recompute your distances and then reassign the clusters. That's iteration 2. And then you keep doing this until and unless there's a convergence. And then every point is completely satisfied being in its own cluster, which you've just assigned to it. So you can either solve it here or you can take it as a homework exercise. I've given you the initial means to start with, which are 0, comma 0 and 5, comma minus 3. Please work this problem out at home and then just form the two clusters, okay, by iterating through the Loy's algorithm, and then you'll get your answer. I hope everyone understands the question. Okay, so that's all I have for today. So would you like to comment on this? Great. So I see majority of you found the session to be useful and informative. That's great to know. And then here you have a word cloud. So you just have to put a word or two and let me know what new did you learn today or anything else. Anything from week 4 or anything from this course that you have learned till now. Okay, cluster boundary, Euclidean distance, mean of points. A lot of you say cluster boundary. Means of points, Euclidean formula. Okay, great. And one last question to you is, if you've gone through your week 3 and week 4, what kind of algorithm is your k-means? Is it supervised or unsupervised?
Unsupervised.
And what do you mean by that?
Unsupervised.
And there are no
Unsupervised.
labels for the data points, only features.
Okay. Have you studied about regression yet? And if yes, what kind of algorithm is regression?
Yes, ma'am, we learnt about regression under supervised. Like, for
Correct.
example, rainfall, predicting rainfall would be regression.
What about classification?
Let's say you want to classify images of cats and dogs or like numbers. You want to classify images of numbers in 0 to 9. That would be classification.
So is it supervised or unsupervised?
Supervised.
Correct. Okay, so that's all for today. If there are any questions or anything that you'd like to share, please let me know, else you can drop off.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Have a
ma'am.
good day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Thank you, ma'am.